There are two kinds of woodworkers in the world. There are the ones that say they don't like sanding, and then there are liars. But people have been working wood for thousands of years, and sandpaper like this has only been available for about 200. So how did people get a smooth surface finish before sandpaper? One of the ways was to use a natural stone, like this. Or you could pour some sand onto the surface and rub it around using a leather pad. But the most common method would have been to plane the surface as close to smooth as possible and then finish with a scraper. Now your local hardware store probably has a variety of tools available that they call scrapers. This type works well for removing the labels from glass jars. And this type works well for smoothing filler over nail holes. But the type we need is just a simple rectangle of tool steel about 1mm thick. You can make it any size you want, but 125 by 75mm, that's 5 by 3 inches, works well for most purposes. You can buy a piece of tool steel, or you can do as I did and just sacrifice an old hardpoint handsaw. I just cut it out with an angle grinder and removed the rust with a wire wheel on my drill. Once we've cut out the basic shape, we need to do a little bit more work to prepare it, using a file, this diamond sharpening stone, and a large screwdriver. Our first step is to use the file to remove the swarf that the angle grinder left on here. Next, I'll round off the scraper's corners a little bit. This way we'll be less likely to accidentally dig in a corner of the scraper and make scratches in our workpiece. Okay, now we can take the handle off the file and use it to flatten the top edge of the scraper. That leaves a sharp burr on the sides of the scraper, which also needs to be filed smooth. You can now jump straight ahead to the burnishing step if you want, but the tool will work much better if you repeat the edge preparation steps on a sharpening stone. I'm using this diamond stone because I know that its top surface is flat. So now the working edge of our corner is going to look like this, with clean square corners, and we're ready to burnish it. This is where I'll use the big screwdriver from before. Simply clamp your scraper in a vise, lay the burnisher flat across the top, and then draw it across the edge about 10 times. You need to apply a moderate downward pressure while you do this, a little bit more than you'd use for a file. Keep doing this until you can feel a lip forming on the edge. If we could zoom in enough, our working edge would now look like this, with a sharp lip on each side. Now we can perform the final burnishing step. Lay your screwdriver on the edge again, but this time tilt it slightly to one side, and give the edge about 10 strokes. Then tilt the screwdriver the other way and work the other side of the scraper's edge. That should leave us with a scraper edge like this, with two slightly angled cutting surfaces. You can pull or push the scraper, whichever is more convenient for you. It works by scraping a very thin shaving from the wood. Unlike a plane, it can work against the grain of the wood without causing tear out. Here you can see how thin those shavings are. Scrapers are also very good for quickly and cleanly removing old paint. Since the paint is removed as shavings rather than as airborne dust, it'll be better for your lungs if the old paint turns out to contain lead. It takes some time and practice to learn how to use the scraper well, and I'm still a beginner myself. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Tightwad Workshop is filmed in front of a live studio audience.